Hello and welcome to another edition of MHQ's Foundation 101 webcast, where today I'm joined almost as usual by a private client partner, Kat Zagati. Kat, good morning.
Good morning, Jan.
And today we talk, now that Ramadan is behind us, about something that was very topical for many regional families during Ramadan, which is the season of giving. Many families have a broad encompassing wealth accumulation strategy. They also think asset protection, but also lifestyle. Now, during Ramadan in particular, but also overall, they tend to focus on doing good around them in their communities. So philanthropy is increasingly become a pillar of what families want to achieve. And what we have seen over the past couple of years is people corporatizing, organizing, KPIing these philanthropy effort, whether impact investment, philanthropic, charitable, etc. So what I want to talk with you today is where is the crossroad between philanthropy and foundation in the Middle East? So let's start with this. How is philanthropy today regulated in the UAE? Can you shine a light on this?
Yes, sure. So charities, non-governmental organizations, and fundraising activities are heavily regulated by the Ministry of Social Affairs. This ministry is responsible for analyzing, approving, and registering all charities in the UAE. However, each emirate has the freedom to establish its own department to regulate the charities operating on its territory. In Dubai, we have the Islamic Affairs and Charitable Activities Department, or the IACAD, which has the duty to report to the Ministry of Social Affairs.
Okay, so clearly charitable organizations are monitored, they are regulated. So how does it work for fundraising in particular?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, fundraising activities are heavily regulated and controlled by the Ministry of Social Affairs. For instance, in Dubai, an approval will have to be obtained from the IACAD prior to any fundraising activity, including advertising of fundraising campaigns. So not only the fundraising activity per se, and any unauthorized fundraising activity may result in suspension of bank accounts and penalties, which includes fines and imprisonment. However, something that I wanted to point out here, Jan, is that pooling of funds within one family to pursue a joint philanthropic objective will not fall within this framework.
Okay, so there's a clear difference between going to market to raise funds versus I'm a family, small or large, and I actually want to organize whatever assets that I produce myself into something for philanthropic endeavor, right? So there's a difference between both. Not too dissimilar if you are a single and a multi-family office where one needs to be regulated, one does not. So foundation, how can they be used here in this context to organize and monitor philanthropic initiative of one single family?
Exactly. So many families choose to do so either in their main family foundation as an ancillary objective to asset consolidation, asset protection, and legacy planning, or within a standalone structure registered strictly for the purpose of philanthropy purposes, actually. So by setting up a charitable foundation, the family will ensure that their vision will continue beyond their lifetimes.
And we have seen that with a number of families where the philanthropic aspect is also often with the patriarch or the matriarch. And this is like the last thing they want to pass to the next generation is say, continue to do good. We have a different type of foundation in the UAE, as we know. Ras Al Khaimah, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai. So are all these foundations regimes equal as far as foundation undertaking a philanthropic activity?
No, they are not. So currently there are only two jurisdictions that accept foundations to carry out charitable objectives. The IFC is one and RAC ICC is the second one. So this means that ADGM foundations cannot be considered when it comes to charitable purposes, although we know that this is about to be changed.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's time this is aligned and we understand the genesis of that, which is people want to be very careful when there's fundraising from third party, but within families, I think people understand clearly that this is not so much of a risk. Now, we talked about how the fundraising would work in these philanthropic initiatives. So is there any process that would need to be put in place for families when they actually undertake that activity internally?
Yes, yes. So any foundation intending to undertake fundraising activities from non-family members will then be subject to the Ministry of Social Affairs regulations and control, as we discussed. So this means that a formal approval will have to be obtained from for the foundation to be able to raise funds from third parties and coordinate the donations. However, again, in case the foundation uses its own funds or the funds donated by the founder, relatives, or family members, then in this case, no approvals will have to be obtained from the Ministry of Social Affairs.
Okay, very clear. Now, the last question for you. Have you worked on any live cases of foundation that had an ancillary or strictly philanthropic purposes? Can you maybe illustrate one or two?
Yes, yes. So we have incorporated several purely charitable foundations with the DIFC and many others with philanthropy as one of the foundation's objectives. One of the foundations we incorporated holds and operates today 2 meditation centers in the UAE. And we are also currently working on another DIFC foundation aimed at supporting children who need audiological equipment. In both cases, considering that there were no fundraising activities from third parties, we didn't have to obtain any Ministry of Social Affairs approval or NOC.
Okay, very clear. Kat Zagati, thank you for clarifying this. Of course, there will be a small write-up on our website available shortly on this topic. If you want to discuss that specifically, feel free to reach out to Kat and her team directly. And next week, hot topic. We are going to launch MHQ's foundation cheat sheet where we compare it to all other vehicles and tools available in a very digested format. And in the meantime, for any questions, feel free to reach out to Kat and her team or myself, and I'll talk to you soon. Kat Zagati, thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure.